Well, good afternoon. This is W.C. Mann with the Cullman Tribune. We are back with the next installment in our 2020 municipal election debates. We have with us now Clint Hollingsworth and Steve Cummings, who are contending for Cullman City Council, Place 4, a tourism committee. We are keeping things socially distant and safe, so we are talking through masks, so be sure and speak up and tell it out loud. So we're going to begin with Steve. Introduce yourself. Tell us why you are running for city council.
Hey, my name is Steve Cummings. I've been involved with the city for the past 13 years as planning commission member. I'm the vice chair for that. And I've been able to see the progress the city's made, and they've made great progress in the past, tremendous growth in that amount of time, and it's been great to be a part of that. And I just, coming from the world of business, I think I could bring another element another part of me is the business part, but to be able to kind of do my part and volunteer my services is a kind of a creative problem solver, I guess is my choice of words. But it's been great being with the City Planning Commission, so this will be the next step.
Okay. Clint, same question. Introduce yourself. Tell us why you are running again, why you're wanting to come back to City Council.
Thank you, Craig. I appreciate you guys having us here today, an opportunity to kind of share our thoughts and discuss some important issues. Yes, my name is Clint Hollingsworth. I'm running for re-election for Cullman City Council, Place 4, which is a tourism spot. I graduated from Cullman High School in 1995, and then I went to Wallace State and finished there, and went to Athens State and got my education degree in PE. And I'm married to Leslie York Hollingsworth, who's also from Cullman. We have 4 beautiful children and here on earth, and we have one in heaven. Cullman has been so great to myself and my family through the years. I love Cullman, but Cullman first loved me, and I really appreciate the people here and the opportunity to serve the past 12 years. 2008 was my first election, and we've seen some incredible things come along the last 12 years, and I'm just glad to be a part of that, and just looking forward to 4 more years and be able to serve this community, and I appreciate everybody's support and vote on August 25th.
All right. As we get into our questions, Clint, you'll get this one first. Last May, the city announced the planned construction of a new multi-sport indoor complex at the site of the old Marvin's store on Main Avenue Southwest across from Heritage Park, adjacent to the Cullman Wellness and Aquatic Center. It said the facility will feature 6 full-size basketball courts, will also support numerous other sporting and non-sports events. Do you believe this is needed in Cullman, and why or why not?
Absolutely. That has been a topic a lot of folks have asked me. Basketball and volleyball is probably your top 2 fastest growing sports nationally. And I've had my own children involved in several tournaments, volleyball and basketball, and you see the growth of those sports. Those sports are not more important than any other sport around. But there's an opportunity where we can have folks come into Cullman, spend sales tax dollars here, and be able to have the exposure for Cullman through folks all over the country. And not only will that facility host those 2 sports, but you can do wrestling, archery, cheerleading, anything under a roof that can be hosted. Esports is another popular sport right now. There's a host of things that can be done with this facility. And it is going to be a great facility. We've kind of put it on hold for right now, but it's a facility that is needed, and because we live and die off sales tax dollars to pay the bills in Cullman, and so that's something I would like to see happen. And but we have other projects as well that needs addressed, and but that facility is going to be top notch, just like the Wellness and Aquatic Center has been as well. And so I just look forward to being a part of it and help with some ideas and get it going.
Okay. Steve, same question. Does the does the city of Cullman need the multi-sport and other event complex?
Yeah, absolutely. I think we saw some of the early numbers of what it would draw, and it's amazing. Since we lost the Civic Center, sold the Civic Center to Desperation Church, you need to, that filled a gap for like different kind of facilities that you needed for that. So this would be another thing that would be a use besides the ball sports and stuff like that. I know that the draw that Heritage Park has had over the years, when they first built it, people complained about that. I was a huge fan of it. And so anybody that's a detractor that says, oh, we don't need this, just give it time. It's well worth the investment. And to me, it's perfect because it's going to tie together the Heritage, Miracle Field, and then also the Wellness Center. I think it's the perfect spot for it. And so it's a no-brainer. I think, we have kind of had the aquatic center is great. It has some basketball courts, but you can draw only so many with a tournament with just a couple of courts. So it's be huge. And since we're located centrally between Huntsville, Birmingham, Guest, and Muscle Shoals, these tournaments are huge draws for basketball and volleyball. Volleyball is massive too. So if you've got the facilities, they'll come.
And I'm going to rebuttal. There's not really rebuttal, probably the right word. I just want to add to this is that this has been a 3 or 4 year project that has been looked at and talked about and designed. And so this is something that's been going on for several years. And so it's something that there's still a lot more planning and things that need to be done. And so like, a lot of other projects that you do, the aquatic center was a $15 million facility that, had some things there that people weren't sure about, but it ended up being the best thing for Cullman. And I foresee this as well.
Sure. Anything else from you on that one?
No, that's absolutely right.
All right. Steve, we'll come to you first with the next one here. A big topic around town is Rock the South. Yeah. And people seem to either love it or hate it. How about you? Did you feel it's beneficial to Cullman? Why? Why not?
Yeah, I do. I think it is. It's kind of put us on the map a little bit. I think it's done it. And the parks did a great job when they had it at Heritage. That was good. And worked with Shane on that. And it had its problems. I think when you had there were complications, anything that large. But as far as the draw that it added to the community and the multiplier effect that you get when people spend the money from out of town, it's and you can't put all your eggs in the Rock the South basket because and I see that this year it didn't go off because of the COVID. That's a rare thing, but I think it's been a good thing. I would definitely want to see it continue at whatever level we can sustain. And I'm sure there's a place where it could get too big, but as it is now, I think it's great. And if it works out well, I can see it doing 2 years. Two per year would be great if we could add another event, maybe spread them out a little bit. But it'd be good to work with Shane and his people and see what else we could facilitate and help them out.
Okay. Clint.
Yeah, that's Rock the South is made a tremendous impact in our community, not only the city but for the county. And Cullman has always done an incredible job of exceeding expectations. And Rock the South is an event that is once a year, and the amount of people that come to Cullman, Alabama, from all over the globe, it's unreal. And I've mentioned this several times to friends and other folks that ask about it, is that you see these major artists, your Eric Church, your Luke Bryan, your Florida Georgia Line, your Hank Williams Jr., all these artists, you see on the back of these shirts, New York City, Los Angeles, California, Chicago, and then you see Cullman, Alabama on the back of that shirt. To me, that resonates. And you can't put a dollar amount on this event of what it does for the city of Cullman and the exposure and the sales tax dollars that it brings. And if you ask the hotels, what's the number one weekend they have where they're just at capacity? It's Rock the South weekend. And we, like I said earlier, we have to have sales tax dollars generated people coming into Cullman, spending money, staying here, buying gas, and then leaving, going back home to help us pay our bills. And Rock the South has done a tremendous job of that. But yes, there are some things that obviously can always be improved, and obviously keeping folks safe and keeping traffic flows, all these other things that we've heard negative about. But Rock the South overall is a positive for our community.
We'll come to you for the next one. Another big topic is the RV park being constructed at the borough property off County Road 222. What are the benefits of this park?
The benefits of this park are several. Number one, I've got a close personal friend and his dad that got a business, and I'm in the loop of some of this recreational vehicle stuff. I'm not one of those people, but I've got friends and family who are, and I've talked with several different folks that are in that RV and in that world, and the amount of people buying the campers, motorhomes, these recreational vehicles is unbelievable right now. People, especially right now with COVID, people want to get outdoors, they want to travel, they want to, see all sorts of part of our great country. The RV park is going to fill or basically address a niche in the market right now that people right off the interstate, that when they're traveling through, once again, can have exposure to Cullman, have a safe environment that they can camp, stay here for a couple of days, and leave. And our RV park is going to be tops of anywhere else in the nation. And we've got great leadership with Park and Rec that's overseeing that. And it's going to be able to host from the biggest motorhome down to a little pop-up camper and everybody in between. And so they're going to offer so much out there at that site. And I'm looking forward to get it, for it to be being built and constructed. Even though I'm not in that world, it is addressing an issue that we don't really have a safe place and a proper place for all the recreational vehicles and the popularity of that in our country right now. And I think that's a great site and safe location.
Okay. Steve, your thoughts on the RV park?
Well, definitely. It's with it 65 right there, and it's so close to 65. If you go back up north or south, there's not really a great place to stop. And people that have RVs, they're heading to the beach from up north. It gives them about 6 more hours to the beach. It's a perfect place to stop. And we've got Smith Lake, the second cleanest lake in the country. Just 15 minutes down the road, that could be at the water. And to me, it's just a no-brainer that the city, when they had the property and the Bass Hall of Fame didn't go through, and it was a great idea for the project. But when that failed at that location, it was a real good idea to come up with the campground. I know some people would say, well, that's, you're getting into somebody else's business. But really, if you look at it, they have campgrounds at Smith Lake Park. That's a municipal, it's a government entity. Sportsman's Lake, same thing. So to me, it's I think people would trust it more being a municipal type facility than Joe Blow's campsite. And that will get people off the road because they know I can trust this. This is a city facility. You've got the biggest draw too is the restaurant's going to be right there off of 205, the 305. And so you'll be able to go into town, and I think it's great. I look forward to it. I've been by several times to see the progress, and it's coming along pretty well, I think. And it's going to be really nice with the trails, walking trails and stuff like that, part of it. So I'm excited.
I would like to can I add one thing? This RV park, if it's a complete failure, it just is not what we thought it was going to be. You bulldoze it up, and let's find something else to do.
Exactly.
And I know that sounds but yes, it's an investment, but it's not like you're building some $30 million facility, and here we go, we're stuck with this on how to, pay for it and how to host events for it.
Yeah.
If it's a complete failure, bulldoze it up, and we'll do something else. But tell me the last time Park and Rec has failed at something.
Yeah.
Everything they touch has been successful. Now, some more than others, but with this RV park, I think it's going to be fantastic, and I think it's going to address a niche, like I said earlier, that's needed.
Anything else you want to add?
That's good.
Okay. All right. Also, on the RV park, there have been folks who have raised questions about how the city went about putting this together. And this will be for you first here, Steve. Do you think the city was transparent enough in its planning leading up to the announcement of the park?
You know, it kind of came through to us late in the planning, from the planning commission. We got a request for like a conditional use or something like that. Exactly what so we didn't see plans or anything, but they sought us for conditional use, I think, of the property. And so, you know, we didn't see it. So I don't really know how far along it was when we saw it. You know, you try to be transparent. You can't really, so I don't know the process, how far things had gone before we saw it, and how far, usually when we see things, the public see it too, because we get it about the same time. So probably can't speak to it because I don't really know, you know, how, you know, if they're trying to hide anything. I wouldn't imagine, but I don't see how it could be less transparent. But like I say, I'm not on the inside of it, so, you know, I don't really know. So.
Well, number one, our Park and Rec Department and City Council, we don't hide anything from anybody. Number two, it's important that the public knows there's certain projects that are real sensitive to allowing information to get out until the time is right. And what I mean by that is that Burroughs property was a great family in the Cullman that we orchestrated a deal, and the family wanted that property to be able to be used for the public, for recreational type use. And sometimes you can't announce and do things until the time is right. Heck, sometimes people know stuff before I do. And so right now, in the information age we're in, social media that we're in, you can get any information, any minutes, whatever you want. You go to City Hall, you can email. There's all these different ways, forms of how you can find information out. And so this time more than ever, if you want to know something, whether it's ask a question from an individual, City Hall, or what, there's public minutes. There's things that you can go to find out things. And certainly, anyone's welcome to call me and ask me anything. And if I don't know it, I'll find out, and I'll get an answer for you.
Okay.
I think I have one about this. Sure. He's right. Certain things you just can't release. I mean, until, whether it's, you don't have approval for it yet, for certain things, and so you don't know if it's going to go through, but you got to start the planning stage before you ever get a chance to. So there's planning involved that you have to do ahead of time that the public may not know about. So you try to be transparent. But.
And to add to that, you know, and he's on the planning commission, we have to sign confidentiality agreements
Sure.
at times because of certain projects and things coming on.
Yeah, I can't say
so just because this may be an inner city Park and Rec city thing versus something from another manufacturer or retail development, there are times where we just, as much as we want to, we cannot say anything until the time's right, and we have to sign these agreements.
Sure, exactly.
But absolutely, we, as a council and as a council member, we would never, ever, and have never kept any information from somebody. And obviously, we're always open for folks coming to our meetings and coming at that time to express any concerns or questions.
We'll come to you. There has been recently questions about the management of the lodging tax here. Do you think that, and there was a question about moving the lodging tax from the Cullman Area Chamber of Commerce to the city. Do you think that moving the management of the lodging tax from the chamber to the city would be a wise decision?
The lodging tax is so important for the city of Cullman. And years ago, that changed. And it didn't work out the way the city council wanted at that time. But that's in the past, okay? Do I think that the city council needs to handle a city lodging tax? Absolutely we do. Do I think that we should keep all of that money necessarily? Maybe not. But I think the intent, the way it was written, was that the city council, economic development specifically as well, was in charge and needed to help distribute that. But there again, that's not where we're at right now. Let's work with what we have. But it is important for the city to have the sales tax I mentioned earlier and the lodging tax, so we can pave roads, so we can help the school system out, so we can do these things to help our community out. And that lodging tax is so important because it's people outside of Cullman coming to spend the night in these hotels that generate that money. It's not put on the taxpayer in Cullman. That's what's so great about it. And so the city council, we're in charge of contracts and money. So why don't we control all of that? And that's an issue, and hopefully one day we can get that back.
Okay. Steve?
Right. I think he's right. The city should be in control of that. I'm familiar with some of the stuff from the chamber. I was on the chamber for several years. I was the small business committee chairman. I ran Christmas in Cullman a couple of years, and then I was on the board with the chamber. They do great work, but like I say, it's the city's money. There should be oversight, and they should control it. And I wouldn't have a problem with the city taking all of it back. And I know that's kind of but chamber has its benefits, and I know there's certain things that the city can't do that deals with businesses. So I think it's important. But the city, like I say, the lodging tax is a pretty good chunk. From the last ones I saw was a pretty good tax. So, the city should have it.
All right, and then Steve, will come to you first with the next question. Looking forward from here, what are some things you'd like to see happen in Cullman over the next 10 or 20 years to bring more tourism dollars in?
Well, of course, the complex there at the Marvin's area would be the first step. I'm not sure the time frame of that. It's going to take several years to bid it out and to get it completed and get up and going. So that would be the first thing that, if I went in, the first focus would be on that. Down the road, I think marketing Cullman as we do a lot of, we pick up a lot of business from the city of Cullman, from outlying areas, not necessarily from Birmingham, but if you're on the bubble, so you live at Joppa, sometimes it's just cheap for them to go to Arabs as it is to come to Cullman. So my marketing background would tell me we need to get all those people that are on the bubble. We need to get Evo instead of going to Decatur. We need to get, So I think the push would be to bring in people that are outliers and just make Cullman more attractive. It already is attractive, but where we're at, to bring in people that make sure we get all of that and kind of go after that as a marketing kind of and market Cullman as, your hometown. It's maybe adopted, but we're your hometown if you're in Faultville, if you're in even kind of go after some of that. And that's tourism dollars too, because they're coming in, they're bringing it in from outside the county. So, and then maybe, Blumen Festival, that's not part of the city, but they do a great job. So maybe what we could do to facilitate other people that want to do a festival. And like I say, Rock the South, see it grow would be great too. So that's my push.
Okay. Clint, next 10 to 20 years to bring tourism dollars to Cullman.
Yeah, I think what we're already doing, what people are seeing, your Strawberry Festivals, your Oktoberfest, your Rock the South, your archery tournament of all things, those are just some things that we're already doing that are kind of non-traditional in some respects that other towns are not. Number one, we want to maintain a safe environment in Cullman, so it's conducive for families to come in to Cullman and shop and spend their money and spend the night. The indoor complex we talked about earlier, it's going to be expensive, but it's going to bring people all over the country to that facility. We also want to make it a pedestrian-friendly environment too. Our downtown is vital. We've already done so much for our downtown. We can do more. So I think improving our downtown, obviously with Park and Rec being involved with our indoor facility, we've got Duck River that's just finished up. You're seeing folks that come around that may want to do the trails for biking, the disc golf. There's so many different activities, special events, things that we're doing in Cullman that other towns and cities are not. They're dying, we're growing. We're progressive. These other folks are still stuck in 1950. And so we're doing the things to move Cullman forward. And I think from the retail development, the housing development, industrial development, jobs, all this is part of the big overall cycle of how things are going right now. But I think the biggest impact is our special events, our park and rec activities, and things that we're doing and expanding on those. And I'm open to more creative ideas and suggestions for more events that we can host.
All right. And then the next question will come to Clint. And this is not a tourism question, but this is a question that has come up for the council in general. Education and education infrastructure has become a topic of conversation in this campaign cycle. Clint, do you think the city does enough to fund Cullman City Schools?
I think we can do more. I think we've already done quite a bit through the years. Since my tenure, I can't speak for prior to me, but since 2008, the way the half-cent sales tax is grown and grown and grown and grown. This last year alone generated like $3.5 million of a half-cent sales tax in 1 year. Just that, all right? When we recruit industry, when there's housing developments, when there's retail developments, when you have folks coming in for a special event or a Rock the South we mentioned earlier, those are all part of taxes that are being spent, and those taxes help go toward paying the bills for the city, but also toward our schools. And it's important that those are well funded. That high school is unbelievable, but the middle school looks like it's from the stone. It needs a major improvement, okay? Our elementary schools need improvement. And so it's a situation that we've had all this growth and all these things that have been wonderful, but we've also had some areas that in some respects either need attention or have gotten left out. But nobody is more pro-education than me right now. I've got 4 kids in the system. I've got them at the elementary level, high school level. I've had them at every school in the city other than East Elementary because we live on the west side. So I've got relatives that are teachers. I've got cousins, aunts, uncles, everybody that I've related to, know, friends, work, or involved in the school system. So it's vital that we address that, and we'll do that in the next 4 years.
All right. Steve?
Yeah, this education system is very symbiotic to business and to growth. It's, they all need to grow together. And I'm sure we are kind of cramped a little bit on the high school has kind of bottlenecked us because we could take more kids, but the high school is a limiting factor, I think. So either, I've heard some people say we'll do a separate 9th grade and use the high school for the top 3 grades because that would work. My wife spent 29 years in education. She started West, and so I've come back with an education background. I understand a lot of things that go on in education, but from the business side, if you have good schools, it's a huge draw. And so we need to do everything we can to facilitate to make the schools better. And I think like I say, he's talking about how old the middle school was. I was there the second year as the middle school was there in the round building. They do need to do something with that. That was a different time. But the school board has got they've got some plans. I'm sure that and when they come to us with what they've got, it's going to be good, I believe. I just think there's got to be a way to make that work and to get us a little bit more expanded, get the high school where it'll take more kids. And like I say, that's kind of been the limiting factor. I know East Elementary needs some room too, but it's going to work out, I believe. We'll find a way.
I'll make one comment here. Just to clarify, the school system has a superintendent and a school board, and they're there for a reason because they handle the school stuff. I don't know what they need or want. Now, when they come to us and they say, look, we need your help, like they did with the football field, the city council stepped up and helped finish that football field. We did over $1 million of in-kind services, hauling dirt, sidewalks, paving. We have helped that school system. Can we do more? Absolutely, and we will do more. But that school system needs to get a plan, and they have started and have a plan that we need to discuss and sit down at the table together, and we're going to do it. But we got to talk specifics. We got to talk wants versus needs. We got to do this in phases. So it's going to get done. It's not going to happen overnight, but it will get done. We will communicate. We'll sit down at the table. We'll get it done.
Okay. Steve, anything else you want to add?
That's good.
Okay. All right. We are to the closing part of this. Steve, we're going to let you speak first, up to 3 minutes. Share with the citizens of Cullman anything else you'd like to share. The floor is open.
It's been great running for this. A lot of people think when you're running for city council, you're running for quarterback, but you're really running for referee. Because the more I look into it, you're constantly, battling two sides that both of them want the same thing. They want growth for Cullman, but how do you balance it out? I spent quite a few years officiating, and I draw a lot of parallels to leadership and to officiating. My dad officiated for 20-something years in football, and he taught me a few things when I started officiating. And one was always hustle to be in position to make the call right. And so you're there to make the call, you observe everything. And said, number two, to sell the call. When you make a decision, you got to get out there and sell it, because if you don't believe in the call, it's hard to teach anybody else or to convince them that you're making the right call. And third is you're going to make a bad call from time to time, own it, admit it, and people will respect that. So, and then if the fourth one is like, if you have any, don't call at the schools where you went to. Try not to have any affiliations where they could think that your judgment might not be that great, because I have a relative I have, so, keep yourself above reproach there. So, the goal of any city is to grow. And that's my goal. Cullman is a great city. It's not a Me Too city. We're very different. When John G. Cullman built this place, he set the streets so far apart, people I'm sure complain, because it's like, what are you doing? This is crazy. Because most towns built in that era were very narrow streets. He had a growth mindset, and I have a growth mindset. So to me, you push and you do what you can to make the city grow. And I think that's why I'm here. So I appreciate your vote. Thank you.
Okay. Clint, floor is open.
Thank you. Number one, I appreciate y'all having us once again.
But I'm here because of the outpouring love and support that this community has given me. They gave it to me when my folks divorced and I moved here, and I didn't know anybody. They opened their arms and they loved me and they supported me. My wife's family supported me, loves me, and opened their arms back in 1997 when my wife and I got married. They also supported me, loved me, prayed for me when I was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 29 in 2006. They loved me, they prayed for me, and they took care of us. And that's one of the reasons why I ran. The other thing that they did for my family is they supported me, loved me, and prayed for me when my son passed away in 2007. They also have embraced me and loved me with our adoption of our son from Port-au-Prince, Haiti. He doesn't look like everybody else in Cullman, but he loved Cullman, and Cullman loved him, and they embraced him. They've never said anything negative. There's always been an outpouring of love from these people in the city of Cullman and the county of Cullman, and I appreciate that. And that makes a big deal with me on my passion and love for this community, because they love me, and then when they didn't even know me. And I've worked my tail off in trying to do the best for Cullman. I've tried to make the right decisions. I tried to hold my tongue when I needed to. And I also am very passionate on being inclusive, bringing people together. And let's get our ideas and our opinions together, and let's figure out what challenges we have lying, because we do. We've got some challenges. But a lot of these challenges are due to what has been created the last 12 years. It's a lot of issues that are good issues, and they're issues that we can handle, whether it's schools, whether it's infrastructure, whatever that may be. We can do it. Cullman always exceeds expectations. Now we've got a virus that we've got to deal with. I think it's imperative that as a city voter, you deal with somebody with experience. that's been through it, that's made the tough decision, that can deal with the social media implications, the good and the bad. And I believe right now is more important than ever to have somebody in there that can make a decision and be strong and will work hard for you. And that's me. And I appreciate your vote August 25th. And I need your prayers and support because it's a lot of hard work. Steve knows as well, door to door is not easy. It's hot, but it's worth it because our community has done so much for my family and his as well. And I appreciate the time today and ask for your vote on the 25th. Thank you.
Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.